Times Square Church. Can you hear me? They told me I have to speak up loud because I have a tiny voice. Well, it's a pleasure to be here today to tell you a little bit about me. My name is Amy. I come from India, and so my parents raised us to get an education, start a family, and have a career, and be successful, and support people back home. And so that's what I did. I was going to school and pursuing my higher studies. So when I finished high school, I was about 17, I was in pursuit of my goals. And my goal was to get my bachelor's, get my master's, marry the man of my dreams, have a house in Long Island, Westbury, Long Island, have 2.5 kids and a Volvo Turbo car and a Civic possibly. So that was my goal. So at the age of 17, I met the man of my dreams. And he had everything going for him. He was going to be a doctor. He was just getting ready to go into med school, and he came from a great family, and he was going to take care of me. So I started college, went to grad school, finished grad school, started my first job. So 7 years went by. At the end of 7 years, he actually decided he had enough. And in the 7 years that I was with him, he was my everything. Whatever he expected me to do, I did. He was very controlling, and I obeyed. Like the good little Indian girl that I am, I obeyed to everything he asked me to do. So at the end of 7 years, I was just left, and he really became everything to me. Every breath that I breathed was for him. And I didn't know what to do, where to go, who to go to. But I remembered when I was downtown at NYU, I came here twice while I was in school. And I only came twice because he only allowed me to come twice. And I remember the time that I came here, there was just something. As soon as you walk in the doors, there's just something about this place. It's not the beauty of the theater and the artwork. There was just something about this place. And in a state of desperate brokenness, I was so broken, and I was just like, wow, I remember that church in Manhattan, and I'm going to go there, because going to church with my parents, saying what I was supposed to say after the priest said what he was supposed to say, wasn't doing anything for me. It wasn't helping the desperation in my heart. And I came on Tuesdays, because I still had to go to church with my parents on Sundays. So I dashed here from the Bronx when I was done with work, and I sat up there every Tuesday for about 2 months. And I sat up there and I just cried. All I could do they would sing, I would cry. They would preach, I would cry. All I did was cry. That's all I knew how to do. I felt so ashamed of myself, so guilty, because I took one too many steps thinking I was going to marry this man. And I sat up there, and I felt like I was wearing every guilty word on my body, and that everybody saw it when I sat up there, and I didn't know what else to do. And then one day, the choir sang a song, and I had heard the song before. I know I had. And they sang a song, and for some reason, for the first time, it was not just words that I was hearing from a song. It went from like my head knowledge to my heart. And the name of the song was Amazing Love. You see, I had lived 7 years living for a man who did nothing for me at the end of the 7 years. And I felt guilty, and I felt ashamed, and I was desperate, and my heart was so broken. And the song said that I was forgiven and that I was accepted. And then it was a question in the song, amazing love, how can it be that you, my king, would die for me? That someone would die for me, and I had to do nothing to receive it. Nothing. I did nothing to receive anyone dying for me. And that there was a king that died for me, and that in that death, that I was free, and that I didn't have to be ashamed anymore. That was 7 years ago. So interestingly enough, that day when I heard the song sitting up there, I left changed. 8 months before that, I was in India after I finished grad school, and my aunt forced me to go to this fasting prayer meeting, right? We have a fast coming up. Forced me to go to this fasting prayer meeting. And there was a lady there who prayed for me, and she prayed in tongues, and she prayed. And she looked at me after she was done praying for me, and she said, "The Lord wants you to know something." And I'm like, "Uh-huh." And she's like, "The Lord has created you to go to the nations." And I'm like, "Uh-huh, whatever, because I'm going to go back to New York. I'm going to marry my doctor, and I'm going to have my house and my kids and my car. So I don't know what this lady's talking about." And it literally went in one year and came out the other. That evening was the congregational prayer meeting, and the pastor who led the prayer meeting had no contact with this lady because that lady was with us the whole day. And he came over to some of the people who were at the prayer meeting, and he came over and he whispered the same exact prayer that she had already spoken to me. And again, I was like, whatever, because I know what I'm going to do when I get back to New York. I'm going to start my job and I'm going to do all this. So I came back, and sure enough, the relationship ended. So 7 years later, I can tell you I just came back 2 weeks ago from my 12th trip. You know, I think there are some who are here that have been here again and again and just kind of strolled in here, and you're not sure why you're here. I can tell you today, I don't have a husband. I don't have 2.5 kids. I don't have a house. I don't even know how to drive to get a car. But I can tell you that I met someone here. I met my Savior here. And He lives inside of me. And if you're here today and you're not sure, or if you're going through something that you feel like you don't even know what the next step is, every song that's sung here, every word that's spoken here, open your heart to it, because He wants to speak to you just the way He spoke to me. He took one song to change my life, and it has never been the same. God says that He will redeem the time for the 7 years that I wasted in that relationship. These last 7 years have been full of joy and excitement like you would not believe. And all the glory goes to God. Thank you.